All right, drivers going through situations with the clearinghouse, with SAP, and all of that. I'm here to answer some of the questions that we get almost on a daily basis here at DriveLine Solutions. If you've never seen me before, my name is Rebecca. I'm with DriveLine Solutions, and I try to help drivers not get screwed. So basically, when it comes to the substance abuse program, if a driver fails or refuses a drug screen, they have to go through the entire program, whether they have a problem or not. They're going to treat you as if you have a substance abuse problem, even if it's a refusal. Okay. So the first thing you do when that happens, and here's another really important thing I think drivers should know. The reports are not always done from the carrier. Now, carriers, usually the refusal, they can report that. The positive, most of the time, it's coming from the MRO. So the medical review officer, it's where your specimen gets sent off to from the facility that you go to. And that's why it takes a couple of days for results to come back for DOT regulated drug tests. So it goes to the medical review officer. They are the ones that report it if it's positive. So just know that it's out of the carrier's hands sometimes. So don't go in there fighting. So once that's reported, you are marked prohibited in clearinghouse. It means you are not allowed to operate a commercial motor vehicle. Okay, so at this point, you have to get in touch with a SAP counselor. You have to get in touch with a certified counselor, not someone off of the Facebook groups. They need to be a certified counselor that can take you through the process of steps 1 through 4. So step 1 is you're going to assign them as your counselor in clearinghouse. They're going to do the initial assessment call with you and everything, decide on what treatment you need. Then you do the treatment, and then they do the follow-up evaluation, and they come up with your follow-up testing plan. The counselor creates your testing plan. The carriers don't set up your follow-up plan. That is created by your counselor, and per FMCSA, the carrier has to follow that counselor's plan because it's a recovery plan. Some people that are going through this actually do need the help, and they need that recovery help. So that's why it's so important that drivers are not going to these people on Facebook and all and getting this done non-legit, because they're just going in there and marking the dates in clearinghouse, and the drivers aren't getting the help they need if they are drivers that truly do need help. All right, so once you get finished with your counselor, they will mark you in clearinghouse as eligible to take your return to duty test. That puts you at step 5. To be able to complete step 5, you need to find a carrier that will sign you on and do your return to duty test for you, or you can go through a company like DriveLine, and we can do it without an employer. So we go ahead and we have our own MRO, and we send you for a drug screen. It is an observed return to duty drug screen. You go and take that. First, we get your paperwork from your counselor to see if you need a drug screen and an alcohol test, or just a drug screen, or just an alcohol test. It's completely up to the counselor. So we can't send a driver to go do any of that until we have that paperwork. So once we have that paperwork, we see what's required by the counselor. Then we set all that up for you. And our rate's $150, and that includes the cost of the drug test. If an alcohol test is required, then it is an extra $65. But if it's just an alcohol or just a drug, then it's included in that price. We do everything in clearinghouse for you. We get all of it set up. And once the results come back, if they are negative, we mark you as not prohibited in clearinghouse. If they are positive, then the MRO is going to mark you back as another violation, and you have to do the entire thing all over again. So just be sure before you sign up and go take a test with any carrier, CTPA, doesn't matter. Make sure that you are clear and you're not going to fail that, because it will result in a second violation. Okay, so once your return to duty is done, we mark you not prohibited in clearinghouse. Now clearinghouse is connected to the DMVs. So your license gets downgraded when you get marked prohibited. So you will need to contact your DMV and make sure that your license, your CDL, is leveled back up. Just make sure before you go driving or go apply anywhere. Because if they pull your MVR, they see that it's been downgraded, then you're going to have to take a step back and go do that. So do that as soon as you're marked not prohibited. Check with your DMV and make sure that your CDL is back in good standing, okay? So then once you have completed step 5, that's the return to duty test, and that's going and getting your CDL back reinstated, then you're going to be on step 6. Step 6 is the follow-up plan. The follow-up plan is created by the counselor specifically for the driver and their circumstance, whatever they went through. And we get this question a lot, that they're asking, how many tests am I going to have? It's going to depend on what you got in that situation for. So say, for instance, you got an alcohol violation. You more than likely are going to get 6 months to a year, every other month of alcohol test. And that's not to say that's for certain, but you can look at it that way, because the whole reason that they put you on this follow-up plan was for you to get the help that you need. Now, another really widely abused side of this is there are CTPAs out there doing the step 6 for drivers that are not driving. FMCSA is very clear about this on their site. I have called them twice and made sure to really ask the question thoroughly and make sure I understood. Drivers cannot do the step 6 follow-up tests if they are not working in a safety-sensitive function. So if they are not working as a driver in a safety-sensitive function, railroad, pilot, whatever, they want the drivers and anyone that has to do DOT-regulated tests, anyone that's doing those, they want them to be working in those safety-sensitive functions, because they want to make sure they can handle the stress of the job without using substances. That's the reason. You want to make sure that you are with a carrier, or if you're an owner-operator, use CTPA like us. We have carriers that do take drivers with violations, and we handle their follow-up plans, but it's under the carrier. You have to have a DOT number attached to it for them to be legit. And to just make sure, that you guys are signing on with carriers that are getting that taken care of for you. Another question that we get is, what if my carrier is not doing my follow-ups? Can I get someone else to do them? A CTPA like DriveLine Solutions, we can do the follow-ups. The carrier has to add us as their CTPA and clearinghouse, which is no cost to them. And we can handle your follow-ups. We can get your plan, and we can make sure your follow-ups are getting done, and we can report them to your carrier's clearinghouse. Of course, when you're closed out, we can close you out. So we can handle all that, but the carrier has to agree to assign us as CTPA on their account. So owner-operators, it works the same way. You have your own account and clearinghouse, you assign us a CTPA, and we can help you get that done. So I hope that answered a few questions for you guys. The very last one that I'll answer is, how long until it falls off? So the date of the violation is when the clock starts. 5 years from the date of the violation is when it can come off. But if you don't close out your step 6, it's not going to come off. It's just going to stay there. So you have to do step 5, return to duty, and do all of your follow-up tests in step 6, whether that's 1 year of tests or 2 years of tests. You have to finish all those before the violation. And so that will stay on there forever if you don't get step 6 completed and closed out. And you have to complete the tests just like the counselor said you need to do them. So that's how you get it off of there. You get steps 1 through 6 done, and make sure that you check your clearinghouse when the 5-year mark hits. Even if your violation is closed, sometimes you will need to contact clearinghouse and ask them to remove it. And then, of course, it might come off sometimes, but always check and make sure, because that could stop you from getting really good job opportunities. So you guys stay safe out there. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will be happy to answer them.